Alright, I'm recording. So, time to do deck tech on Prism. We've been playing a bunch of Prism the past couple weeks. We went to 4 Road to Nationals so far, right?
You went to
I went with you to 2.
And then I went to 2 more.
Yeah, so I've been to 2, he's been to 4.
I've been to 4, yeah. And, yeah.
So this list is slightly different than the ones that we were playing for the first 2 weeks. I can kind of go over the changes between that and this, but I got top 4 at the first one, top 8 at the second one, and then...
And then the third one I won, and then the fourth one the first, second, and fourth one I bubbled out of.
The Yale Bubble Boy. And you did say it that day, too. I'm either going to bubble out or win. There's no in-between, and then literally did that. Honestly, I probably would have gotten slightly further, the 2 that I went to, if we had Command and Conquers at the time. Because my only loss in the first one that I went top 4 at, I believe, was Prism. And it was the same Prism deck twice.
Yeah, you lost to Prism twice.
And he just high-rolled me because he had more 6s, and I didn't, because we didn't have CCs at the time, like, at all. But yeah, let's just jump into it. Let me just pull up our notes thing over here. Professional streaming, figuring things out as I'm going. So let's just jump into card choices. So first of all, the core of the deck, we're just running all 9 of the best heralds, the Protection, Triumph, and War Tune. They're just really efficient. We got the best other heralds like Erudition, Judgment, because you kind of need it, and then some filler for Curve of Tenacity, Rebirth, and Ravages. Soul Shield, just an efficient card. Library's broken. Celestial Cataclysm is just our E-Strike, and then Tome of Divinity so we can high roll people. And then beyond that is just general card choices. Why don't you go through some of the card choices that we made?
So we found that Skullcap is actually really necessary against like Katsu and Bravo and anything else that we really need Skull. It's just good.
It's just good. It's the whole like we don't really have armor thing that like blocks well. So just having a piece of armor to like buy a turn here and there is nice.
And then
over Halo. I didn't really like Halo when we were playing it. I just felt like a lot of times it just... I was forcing myself to use Halo when I would have rather just had a better card.
Where I actually really like Halo because all it does is unbrick your turns. Mm-hmm. And potentially opens up a book turn, but it's just to unbrick your hands. Mm-hmm. And then Tunic in the side was just for Chain, which I really liked that, but I don't like the strategy that we were on, but it really worked. Being able to Tunic on my opponent's turn to activate Footsteps or whatever is really good, or turn my red into a Soul Shield.
I guess that's the big thing. Let's just talk about Chain and our choices for that together. So what we were doing for Chain is we were bringing in the Tunic and No Ring Gloves, so that way we would have... And we were on a turtle from the beginning of the game plan. We were trying that out. Prior to this, we were on a beatdown strategy of just we're just going to aggro them out, and that was working. But now they're playing 9 blades and stuff, so it's really hard to be on that plan.
Yep.
So I was like, okay, let's try pivoting into more of a turtle-y style, because the Rogers Dash deck was basically everything blocks for 3. I'll turtle them out. Well, everything in our deck blocks for 3, and we have Footsteps where they have Core and stuff like that, and Footsteps blocks for a lot in that matchup, and we can utilize the extra mana better than a lot of other decks with no rune or shields or auras and things like that. So the general plan was
take out everything that doesn't block, add in snags,
and then just use the snags for pivotal turns, or just pitch it to our boots, which was nice. We could play it as a modal card in that aspect. I didn't get a chance to play that many games with it on that plan. We kind of jumped off of it immediately because that matchup we felt was is still very high rolly, where it's hard to go in with like a specific plan of like, this is what we're doing for the matchup. Now we just need to execute the matchups, no matter what build we're on. It just seems to come down to who high rolls the other player.
Yeah, and every single match on the Turtle from the Beginning plan ended up they're at 1 life, I was at however many life, and they had to kill me on their last turn. And I don't appreciate that.
Yeah, I wish the matchup wasn't that tight and I could go in with more of a solid plan, but it is what it is. Because, like, I did like the aggro plan. I really did like that. Of just, I can pressure them faster than they can get their chains going, but if they just have a 6 every turn, then I can't really do much about that.
Yeah, the first Road to Nationals, I literally had a game that was just turn 1, 2, 3, 4 with a 6 power or higher, and the Triumph lined up to the 9 blades every time. And I'm like,
the last time I played against Chain, it was turns. I think it was 3, 4, 5 or 2, 3, 4. He had a 6, and then I Phantasmaclasmed him because he was using the CCs, and I was just filling it with other random cards that just were aggressive. And the turn I Phantasmaclasmed him, he had a CC and a 9 blades. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? What am I supposed to do against this? And then the following turn, 3 Art of Wars in the same turn. I was like, I'm not going to even finish the turn. You got it. You win. Yeah, I really don't like how high rolly it is. But every other matchup, it feels like we do have a plan that if we execute properly, we have a good shot at winning the matchup. I like our plan going into every matchup, and it's really just coming down to player skill all the time. Any other card choices that we should talk about before moving forward? I guess the 2 Heralds. Do you want to touch on the 2 Heralds that we've been hotly contesting between the 2 of us?
So, Tenacity, second worst Herald in the deck, next to Ravages. I would say, like, it's a tie between Ravages and Tenacity. And
I would say that it's specifically worse than Ravages, except for at the blue, because the 4 for
block.
blue,
yeah,
it's just nice. I'm gonna sink below that.
Yeah,
idiot.
it feels so bad, and like it's only good against like Katsu, and they play 4 blocks, so it's really bad. And then I realized one of my MVPs of all 4 roads was actually Rebirth, and we were on just blue Rebirth. And I've been since playing around with at least a 5th Rebirth, either at yellow or red.
And then my build right now is on 3 blue, 3 yellow, and again, we still don't have the extra CCs. So I'm playing a Phantasmaclasm and 2 red Rebirths. Just, we're on the Rebirth train.
Oh, man. And Phantasmaclasm is so good because you can, like, loop it with the Rebirths. Oof.
Or attack with an early Erudition, and then just keep stacking it on top, and just it really makes them have to play around more than they want to. It makes them block out Rebirths when they really don't want to, because they're like, God damn it, this is just going to be an Erudition next turn, I have to block this. Or setting up your pitch for the next turn, like guaranteeing a yellow on the top of your deck for a library or a go again is nice. And just increasing the density of your good pitches in the bottom of your deck for when you hit the bottom is really nice too. So yeah, we're on the fence of just taking Tenacity out of the deck completely because it's just so booty cheeks.
Yeah, like yellow's okay against Katsu, and that's it.
Yeah,
maybe Bravo, but Bravo's such a free win that we don't care.
Yeah, it's the weirdest thing that we discovered about this deck over the past couple weeks. Is we went into this being like, oh yeah, Bravo auto loss. We're probably super unfavored to win that matchup. We haven't dropped a single game to Bravo.
Nope.
And Bravo's like really popular in our area, and
so we have good Bravo mains too.
Yeah, where they've been on the deck for like a year.
Yeah, and they like know the matchup.
And I remember facing one guy where he was just like, I faced him 1 week, and then I came back and fought him again the next week, where he brought in a bunch of sideboard for me, and then the sideboard didn't do anything, and then we were talking afterwards, and he's like, I don't know how I'm supposed to beat auras as Bravo, and I was like, me too, guy. Me too. It's just been so one-sided. Most of my games have come down to, like, take the first attack from them because it doesn't matter, I don't have anything going yet, and then I get down an aura, and then come back to my turn, and then play another aura, and then I don't take a single point of damage for the rest of the game because I'm giving them a forked decision that they don't have any good choices, where either they attack the auras and I just replace it with another aura constantly, or they attack me and the auras run away with the game. They need to do both. They need to kill the auras and damage me because they need to break all my spectral shields. But, like, they got one turn over the game usually to do that with, like, something that gives them action points. And even then, like, if I just block out their attack at me, cool, I blocked out their attack and then they got an aura. You did it. And a lot of times it's pretty telegraphed. And I can just, oh, I see you're going to go for that next turn because you did, like, a big showtime turn or something where you're, like, setting up for next turn where you're going to come at me with, like, 6-7 cards. And I just go, I'm just going to attack you instead of playing an aura because you didn't rip any cards from my hand.
And then they don't want to block with that because they needed to have their big turn, so they just take all this pointless damage. And then
if it's an erudition turn, like, what do you do if I just come at you with an erudition but you need to keep your hand? I might just kill you. So, I'm surprised how one-sided it's been.
This deck is very good at just switching plans and
mid-game.
Mid-game. Just, oh, you thought I was a draw-go deck? 25.
Put some respect on my name.
Yeah, just... And that's also against Chain and Katsu, like, any room to breathe and you don't respect me, we can just... My cards I'm blocking with, a lot of them just still attack for 7. We have really good, was it DPC?
I think that's right.
Like, we have insane card economy in our deck on top of that, so...
Yeah. Did you want to talk about the sync? I had that on here.
So, the sync was kind of a filler card for... What was it for? It was just because the library was in the deck, and we just had, like, one random extra card. And,
I think so,
like,
and it was just coming in against, like, Katsu and stuff.
And, like,
or not Katsu.
Dorinthia.
Chain,
Dorinthia.
It was just an efficient block.
Yeah.
I was between that or Springboard Somersault, yellow.
Yeah, and I, after playing with it, felt like I just didn't need it, and it actually screwed me a couple times throughout the weekend because
just
it was a red pitch, and I was like, this would have been better as a bauble.
So I think that's pretty much it for the cards we wanted to talk about, so let's just finish up with matchups, I guess. We pretty much already touched on Chain. Our plan on this build is to try to turtle them out, and it was to just be the beatdown, and we're probably switching back to being the beatdown and just trying to work that out of how to play around all their 6s. Bravo, we already touched on. We're just on the Auras plan. We actually are moving towards being on the Auras plan and more matchups now. For instance, Prism, we're now switching to being on the Auras plan.
The mirror, yeah.
Where, in my experience so far with the mirror, it's very high-rolly, where whoever gets ahead first in the mirror usually maintains that lead because they're getting stuff in their soul, making shields, and even if the other player gets a turn where they can attack, it's really hard for them to actually hit because of the shields, meaning that they're just playing catch-up the entire time. And then the only thing that really swings the matchup is when one of the two players has a 6 or a 7. But what we discovered is the auras are actually pretty good of just, you know what, I'm just not going to play that game of who gets ahead first and then trying to high roll the other player. I'm just going to play auras and then originally what our impression was is that auras is bad because you just, okay, I'm just going to attack you with a herald and then make a shield and poke the aura. But the trick is just never let anything hit their soul, which, easier said than done, but it works. You just get an aura down and then fight over anything attacking you, and just don't let it hit. If you're trading your hand for their hand, but keeping an aura on board, you're ahead in that exchange. And then whenever they draw a CC or a Celestial Cataclysm, it's not high-rolling you because it doesn't do anything there. It's just damage. They're not getting to block your aura and pop it. So then whenever you high-roll them and get a 6 or a 7, now you start pulling ahead, getting down a second aura, getting an attack through, and it just starts to snowball, and they get in this position where they're like, ah, shit, he's got 2 or 3 auras down. I have to attack the aura with a herald, making it so I don't get anything in my soul again, and then it starts snowballing from there. So really just don't let anything hit their soul. Anything you want to say about the mirror?
Just extremely a lot of these matchups are if you have a plan and they don't know the matchup, that's just the name of the game, you're just going to smash them.
Yeah, I would say a lot of our matchups, other than Chain, is just we're going in with a plan, and our plan executed properly gives us a high win percentage. And a lot of people I'm finding are playing. A lot of people that I'm finding that I'm playing against are playing more turn to turn,
not to the game.
Like, for instance, Katsu, our next point, and I guess Dash. I haven't had a chance to play against Dash yet, but I'm sitting down, going into that matchup with the same plan as Katsu. Of I am just going to spend the entire game setting up my pitch. I understand that Library is the only card in the matchup that really matters. I'm going to establish a bit of a life buffer so I can have enough life where the turn I play the Library, I can attempt to keep my hand. Because what I want to do is go Library pass, come back to my turn with the ability to pitch 2 yellows, and get the Library trigger. Ideally with an Arsenal, but, I would like to try to set that board state up. Because once that gets rolling, it's really hard for them to get back into that matchup. And ideally, I'm trying to draw the Library later into the game where I'm towards the bottom of my deck where I've set up my pitch, and I'm just spending the entire game pitching the best cards in my deck and just setting up this game plan where I'm just going to go, I have every Erudition and book at the bottom of my deck. I am going to obliterate you in one turn.
Yep.
Just Erudition, book, and just you're losing the game on the spot, essentially. Anything you want to mention on Katsu? We did make the equipment change for that.
Yeah, Skullcap's really good. Just taking off a turn to just, you know what, I'm just going to block the second Kodachi with this, and anything else you do in your turn doesn't really matter. My turn.
Yeah. Especially if they have a small hand.
Yeah,
like we're trading 2 for 2, and then...
I'll take the 2 to 12 points of damage to just put in your butt.
Yeah. Like, I pitch attack, they go block with 2 cards, and then they're coming back at us with only 2 cards, where it's like a pitch to attack, and then the last card is an actual attack, and it's like, you're not getting a Katsu trigger that matters off of that because you have no hand. It's just damage. There's no mask trigger. It's just damage. Take it.
Yeah.
Now I can come at you with a 4-card hand and just kind of rinse and repeat on that until our pitch is set up.
Yeah, and if they pull ahead, you can get 2 Skullcap, which is really good.
Yeah, I find myself taking a bit of early damage, so I can use that. And the CCs obviously are very good into that matchup. Just ripping multiple cards.
Yeah, they could just have a hand that just can't block a CC, and then you end up ripping their arsenal. Ooh.
And then ideally, we're attacking with like a lot of our blues and stuff. Some reds here and there, but mostly just trying to strip resources. Like, I'm just waiting to the point of the game that I'm like, all right, you've got like A6 left in your deck. I've stripped you of most of your armor. You got like a couple defense reactions left in the deck. Not many because you're also hitting the bottom of your pitch. So like, if you're hitting any, it's like a blue flick flack. It doesn't matter. That doesn't do anything at this point. Where now I can come in with an Erudition without gauntlets, and it's probably getting through, or I'm taking your mask. And once that happens, the matchup really swings even more, because now they don't have mask. I don't have to give a shit about what they're doing. And I'm just going to keep doing that over and over again, turn after turn, because I'm at my pitch. My bottom is all the Eruditions. I'm assuming Dash is going to play out the same. Maybe we need to be a little bit more aggressive to prevent them from getting down to items. I'm not sure. We haven't had a chance to practice that one yet. No one plays Dash in the area.
Yeah, they just play items like most people play potions.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But it is a 2-card.
Yeah. Some of them play for 1? Do any of them play for
0? They
0?
can put the... so, like, they have the core that costs 0, and they have a tutor that grabs that.
Yeah.
So, and then that will let them go into their next turn with 2 mana from that they can use to play an item or do something. But yeah.
Yeah, we've seen 1 dash. I've seen 1 dash.
It's 1 more than me.
In the 4 that I've been to.
It's 1 more than me.
And I didn't even play it. It was just next to me, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Brute, we're on kind of a similar plan as Bravo. We're going to bring in the auras. We're going to try to grind them out. In that matchup, I think we're a little more concerned about stripping cards, though, because they can't really execute their game plan without a full hand. So we might attack a bit more often than we would against Bravo, because we're also not having to worry about, like, I need to keep a hand to block a dominate crush effect. Like, they're coming in for 6. I'm not going to get to block, so I might as well attack while I can, essentially.
Yeah, and against that matchup, too, when the Intimidate goes off, you can actually just flash in your aura, so they have nothing to intimidate. I wasn't going to block anyways.
Mm-hmm. And then the last matchup that I really think that's worth talking about, we're not going to really touch on Pheano, Viserai, Azalea. I think I might be missing one deck, but
Dorinthia?
Dorinthia I'm going to talk about in a second. But those 3 decks I'm not going to really talk about. They're not really in the meta, at least locally. We don't really see them.
Bolton.
Bolton. Oh, we should talk about Bolton. I guess that's the same vein as Dorinthia.
No.
Well, we're still on the I'm going to bring an Arclight to stop your big play.
Yeah.
But, we're similar plan of I'm just going to be aggressive and then just...
Yeah, so Bolton, if you're playing a Bolton, you have to assume it's the OTK variant. It's very face-up when they flip over sabers. And you want to race to find Arclight as fast as possible. And I almost recommend turtling if you can't find it, because they can just 34 you in a turn, just...
Not 40.
Yeah,
Not 40.
I mean, that's what happened to me. One of my last games, and the last one I bubbled out of, I had never played against a Saber Bolton before, and there was one turn where I hit him with 3 7 power heralds, and when he said no block on the third one, my butthole just clenched, because I was like, you just took 21 points of damage. What is in your hand? Oh, God. And I had a library, and I had pitched my Arclights, because I was like, what the fuck are you doing? You're like, I got him down to 4 life. I was like, there's nothing you can do. And I was sitting at 39, and he presents over a 50-point swing between gaining life and doing damage. I went down to 5, and I was like, oh, not 0? I have a library. I didn't block anything. You're dead. Because then I cracked back for 25 points of damage. And he's just like, oh. But I'm like, I completely punted that game because I pitched my Arclight. So I'm like, okay, so for the future, I'm just going...
Arsenal 1 and wait.
Yeah, just Arsenal 1 and wait. Hope they don't randomly have a Command and Conquer, fight over it, whatever.
Or a time snap or something.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Hopefully they don't just play those, which that seems like a reasonable thing for them to do, being like, I understand that I lose to exactly Arclight. Time snap. If they're not doing anything most of the game, also, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know if they can afford to play the boots that give them an action point in that deck, but maybe.
I can't remember what boots he had, but
I imagine he's playing just random warrior ones that block.
But yeah, Arclight, be aggressive. Maybe turtle until you find the Arclight, but you play 3.
Yeah.
And then Dorinthia is... So, the matchups is actually very different if you're playing against the Axe versus the regular. And I actually...
But sideboard-wise, we're more or less the same Bolton and Dorinthia, right? Or we're bringing in Arclight for both.
Yeah.
I could see us not bringing Arclight, though, for the Axe version.
But we don't know that.
I could see.
Yeah, if you scouted and you know that your opponent's on Axe, because they can't switch between them. The decks are too different.
Mm-hmm.
All the attacks are buff and Axe.
Are they?
Yeah, not a weapon, an Axe.
Okay.
So
you say so. I haven't read the deck
I
yet.
had to read every single card. I played one in the top 4, the one I won, and I had never seen one before, and I was just waiting for all the attack reactions and stuff, and the deck plays completely different. It's just a different deck. So okay. But you can't know that until you go into it. So I guess that's the advantage of playing that deck.
But at worst, it's still a yellow. It still pitches.
Yeah.
Gives us go again.
And if you can Arclight on a turn that they have 1 to 2 counters on their what's
sword?
The sword called?
Dawnblade?
Not
Dawnblade.
Dawnblade?
Dawnblade. Wanted to say Iron Song, and I'm like, that's her name.
Yeah. If you can do that, it just kind of resets the game, because half the time you're like, take 3. Just 3 damage. 7. Like,
Yeah, like do the Bravo of have an on turn, have an off turn, have an on turn, have an off turn.
yeah, and I found against a couple different thieves I played, just throwing my whole hand in front of that, so they just lose their counter is fine.
Yeah.
To come back, and then you're like, okay, back to me being the beatdown. Where against the Axe one, yeah, it was just the beatdown. I just found a Soul Shield, arsenaled it, and then just attack.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Is that all the decks?
Yeah, I think that's all the matchups that we wanted to talk about.
I guess Azalea is not important, but if you play Azalea, auras, not regular.
Why?
Because they attack with one card at a time. They don't have enough to go wide enough. So like, and
I think there is a go wide build, but I don't know how. I mean, they're both memes. So.
Yeah. Well, I feel like if they're playing the go wide one, you're probably just winning that one on the face that we have such high DPC, but you want to play the auras.
Okay. I'll take your word on that. I haven't played the matchup. I haven't seen one in the wild. Okay, I think that's everything we want to say. We'll probably post an updated list at the end of all Road to Nationals of what we end up on. Yeah?
So we decided, and I went through this. So every Road to Nationals that we win, not top, win, you got to put a crack bauble in your main deck. Not side deck, main deck. So I went to the one after I won this one with the crack bauble. I got like 9th place. I bubbled out. The crack bauble is still a yellow pitch.
It's a good challenge. I gotta hopefully get a bauble on my deck after the next one. Alrighty. So yeah, we're gonna be posting an updated one at the end of Road to Nationals when we are on our finalized build. Stay tuned for that, and thank you so much for watching. Bye.